Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, it's a beautiful Sunday morning, so that means it is time for a Sunday morning episode of Bullet Points. Now, what we do on Bullet Points is particularly useful right now when the Washington Post continues to put these insane opinion pieces. We meet the left, the gun control left, right where they're at. The opinion pieces, the interviews, and the overall just echo chamber that they put forward. Well, we're going to bust through that thing like the Kool-Aid Man today because we got some stuff we got to talk about in this article. It's linked in the description box below, and I want to hear what you guys think because the condescension, the arrogance, just the complete rewriting of history and a false equivalency and hypocrisy. This is going to be delicious. But we're going to dive in, and here we go. Opinion. With Democratic help, Republicans notch a victory in their war on government. Okay, Republicans don't have a war on government. They have a hold on government. Republicans are typically trying to prevent overreach, while the left is continually trying to push to see how far you can reach without being stopped by the Republicans. Let's just call it what it is. The left sees no barriers to the government control for the common good because they ignore history. And the Republicans kind of remember a little bit of history and they say, yeah, we can't do that. There's actually guidelines. Just saying. Now, this entire thing is based on the Chipman nomination, because the Chipman nomination, this failure, has them twisted up. They are pissed. And they should be, because they put forth a far-left advocate and it didn't work. They took a risk, they took a gamble, and it got stuffed. Just like we talked about when it originally came down. But, let's keep going. No. What got Chipman into trouble in his nomination to run the agency in charge of enforcing federal gun laws and stopping illegal gun trafficking is that Chipman was seen as insufficiently pro-gun. False, incorrect. Chipman was seen as anti-gun, not pro-gun enough, anti-gun. Pro-gun enough would say that, oh, he's right in the middle, he's okay, he likes them, he's whatever, he's just kind of milquetoast. This man sat in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee and said he's going to violate the Second Amendment routinely. We shouldn't have certain Second Amendment rights. His views weren't in line with most people in the ATF. Had some discrimination issues, but no. He just wasn't seen as sufficiently pro-gun enough. Complete rewrite of history. This man sat on the board of Giffords.org, a gun control group. Giffords.org literally goes through and says we should ban assault weapons, quote, quote, quote. We should do high-capacity magazines. We should do universal background checks. They are as far left on the spectrum as possible. But he just wasn't far enough pro-gun. Lie, revisionist history, let's keep going. Now, here's the ATF. This is where the false equivalency starts. The agency's mission is to investigate, quote, armed violent offenders and career criminals, narcotics traffickers, narco-terrorists, violent gangs, and domestic and international arms traffickers. And being insufficiently pro-gun is a disqualification. All those things are crimes. The ATF is seated underneath the DOJ. They're both government bureaucracies underneath the executive branch. Their job, in specifically these examples, is to go after violators of violators of the law or criminals. Has nothing to do with being pro-gun. In fact, the reason that he was not placed was not because he couldn't pursue these people, because apparently, according to their own stats, they're not doing a great job. But he was going to go after law-abiding citizens. He was going to ignore all these people that you're referencing in the stated mission of the ATF and go after law-abiding citizens and their rights. That's the problem. But it gets even more fun. Listen to this false equivalency. I can't wait, by the way, to bring Pete Buttigieg into this. Consider that for a moment. What if I expressed reservations about the nominee for Attorney General because he is anti-crime, and that could lead him to pursue some kind of weird anti-crime agenda on the Department of Justice? Or if I said the next administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency had better not be too opposed to pollution? False equivalency at its best, honestly kind of stupid examples. But the Department of Justice and the head of the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, anti-crime. You're supposed to pursue criminals. You're not supposed to violate existing rights of law-abiding citizens. You're pursuing criminals. Completely different. Because one, you don't have a right to be a criminal. Moron. Now, next one. Environmental Protection Agency had better not be too opposed to pollution. The only things that have ever happened in my lifetime with the EPA was because the EPA stepped and squashed on individuals and businesses' rights in their quest to save a fish, or an almond tree, or a bug. That's the reason that the EPA conflicts with Republicans. Not because of their stated mission, because of how they use that government bureaucracy to squash and quell the rights of individuals and businesses. We're getting to the core root of the problem. They stay top level and make it sound sophisticated and flowery, but the problem is they violate rights with their stupid bureaucracy actions. That's the whole point. And this guy knows that too, by the way. Now, here's my favorite part where Pete Buttigieg comes in. This dates back to before Donald Trump, but he took it to the extreme, talking about putting the wrong people in the wrong places. In some cases, Trump appointed agency heads who were comically unqualified to run them, such as Ben Carson, who had never worked a day in his life on housing policy, but became Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Okay, Pete Buttigieg was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Then he was a presidential candidate. Then he became the U.S. Secretary of of Transportation. He's never worked in the transportation line. He's never worked in transportation anything. He quite literally was the mayor of a small town in Indiana, and now he's the Secretary of Treasury for of Transportation for the United States. How's that different? Oh, because a liberal did it, not a conservative. I see what you did there. Now, this last part I find fascinating. They always wrap up with these little zingers that make no sense. The demise of Chipman's nomination might lead you to say, well, that's just politics. Whenever the opposition party has a chance to torpedo a nomination, they'll take it, which is true. But Democrats don't have to help Republicans do this, especially when their real goal is to make sure laws aren't enforced and government doesn't work. You really think that the Republicans' stated mission and goal is to not enforce laws and make sure government doesn't work? That's really what you want to do. You want to go with that. If that's the stance, you're in bigger trouble in 2022 than I thought. And that's the bullet points. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you tonight at the 9 p.m. slot. Braden signing out.